I would much rather have a patient who said, yeah, my parents were wild and crazy and kinky. Let me tell you, they were having sex all the time, you know.
So books like 50 Shades of Grey have exploded our interest in alternative sexual lifestyles. But as parents, we're still supposed to be, very vanilla and do the right thing. So how kinky can a couple get without feeling guilty or feeling worried that they're going to somehow change and not be a good role model for their children?
Well, I think parents are good role models when they have a healthy sexual relationship with their partner. They're creating an environment in their home where they're accepting of each other and they're expanding their repertoire. Just like we don't invite our children into our bedroom regularly, doesn't mean that they have to be invited into the bedroom, into those discussions when we add a little bit of kinky play into it. You have to, as a parent, exercise intelligence when you're talking to your children. You have to make sure that the environment is safe. If you want that kinky relationship, call the grandparents. Have the kids stay away for the weekend at the grandparents or friends or whatever that looks like. But simply because you're a parent doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have alternative choices in the bedroom or outside of the bedroom. There's clubs in every city that you go to. So there are outlets to have that kinky side in your relationship that do not have to involve it being in your home.
And I hear that question and my immediate response is, what does one really have to do with the other?
Right.
Who I am as a mom is not connected with who I am as a lover, except in the biological sense that is what led to me being a mother. But, I like to think theoretically that my parents have a happy, sexually fulfilling life, but I don't want it confirmed or denied. That's just fine. Okay, you can have that, but I don't want to know. And I think that's healthy. I think that's totally healthy.
On that note, it's like I work with so many couples and we're always looking at childhood and what happened in childhood and how they were modeled for intimacy. And, a typical question would be, so were your parents affectionate? Were they loving? Were they sexual? And I have to be honest, it's disappointing. Like at least 75 to 85% of people will say, no, nothing. I never saw them hug. I never saw them kiss. I would much rather have a patient who said, yeah, my parents were wild and crazy and kinky. Let me tell you, they were having sex all the time. That is going to lead to a person who actually is better modeled to have healthy adult sexual relationships.
Yeah, and I always say, what is your sex life like? And I think we get into trouble when we start to think like, what are my kids gonna think? What's this? What's that? And I think that keeps us from focusing in on what we need and what we want and what we want to try. And it's a huge opportunity to grow in practicing with this different kinds of play, as long as you're comfortable with it. And so the solution could just be to start small, wherever you and your partner are comfortable, and then go from there.
So the takeaway from this conversation is that if you are having regular sex and your child happens to walk in on you, the kid's not going to be damaged for life, right? Certainly isn't going to, find themselves incapable of having their own sex life, and they probably won't end up in your office in 20 years.